In this special episode of Surf Chronicles, we travel to Australia to get ready for the season kickoff 2011. At the Rip Curl Pro at Bells Beach, we catch up with the young Australian Julian Wilson. The oldest tour event celebrates its 50th anniversary, and it's time to find out more about the history of the event. The ASP Banquet is not only a big get-together of the surf community, but also the official end for the past season. See all this in another episode of Surf Chronicles.
Aerials is the only real place that surfing can change, I think. Pushing aerials and combinations of manoeuvres together that, the crowd wants to see, the people on the beach want to see, big high-risk manoeuvres, that's what it's all about.
Right after his first tentative steps, the 22-year-old Australian gave surfing his first try.
I started surfing when I was about 3 years of age. I grew up in a surfing family. My mum, dad, two older brothers, they all surfed. So it was basically as soon as I started walking, I was thrown on a surfboard. Dad was pushing me into waves up at Noosa Heads at the point breaks there. And that's just, I never really had a choice to be a surfer when I was just in my blood. I was at the beach every day.
The humble boy from Column Beach followed his passion and is now one of the most talented surfers of his generation.
Yeah, well, I get to live an amazing lifestyle. I travel the world for, say, 9 months of the year. I go to the most beautiful places. I follow the coast. Everywhere I go, every country I go to, I'm going to the beach and, always following the summer around. So it's an amazing way to view the world, and I'm very lucky and blessed.
The second stop of the ASP World Tour has an extensive history. It all started with a dream that turned into professional surfing.
Talk about Bells, it's got history to it, It's not just a contest, it's our lifestyle, it's our way of life, it's what makes us who we are, and I think it's about time we bloody embrace that.
In the 60s, the surf community gathered for the very first time at the famous beach close by the little town called Torquay, and everything went from there. The 70s, with its radical changes, were all about hippie soul surfing versus competitive surfing. The increasing prize money made it possible to live surfing as a profession.
I guess it's all about the journey, and it's lovely having that respect that's still paid to all the past champions.
The 80s have been characterized by the radical change of equipment. In 1981, Simon Anderson won the event on a board with 3 fins, the so-called thruster. Only a decade later, upcoming rookies like Kelly Slater challenged the renowned stars with their progressive style. The modern era is as well characterized by progressive surfing. The sport again is defined by new maneuvers and radical style.
It is that gladiator pit, it's got the natural amphitheatre sort of feeling, and it starts when you walk down the stairs and you walk out on the beach and the crowd's there and you end up filtering out in the water, but yeah, looking back, it's an amazing feeling.
For the moment, Joel Parkinson is the one who won the event in 2011, setting another milestone in the 50-year history of Bells events.
Bells is really a prestigious thing to win, but the 50-year anniversary one, it almost feels like it's a gold-plated one this year.
I had a really busy year last year. I wanted to do a full year on the QS and in the same year finish off my movie, Scratching the Surface. But I started the year with an injury. I was out for 4 months. I trained really hard and worked hard at getting back to where I needed to be to do well in the QS events. And And I came back, and my third event back in, I had a win in a 6-star event in Sri Lanka, and that kind of kicked my year off from there. That was about the halfway point in the year. And then I'd finish off the movie. That turned out great. I was really happy with it. You know, I wanted to be really involved with the whole project from the start and make sure it, you know, it's as cool as I want it to be and enjoyable to watch, and make sure it kind of ticks all the boxes that I have in my head.
The success of Julian's movie gave him confidence for the last 2 events of 2010.
Coming into Hawaii, I was about 15, 20 spots off the cup, and I was really looking at just, you know, having a good seed coming into 2011 to try and qualify this year, but I went into the event and made 2 back-to-back finals and snuck in there, and it was, you know, a great way to end the year, and I'm really, really happy.
Julian made the cut and qualified for 2011, where he's continued his great performance.
2011, it's my rookie year on tour. I'm definitely going to see myself cutting back on free surfing, filming for sections and stuff. Yeah, I'm going to have to do every 6-star prime event and world tour event to make sure I make that cut line halfway through the year. So it's just going to be back-to-back contests, which is exciting, and that's, you know, what I love to do. I love to compete. So I guess there's nothing really better than kind of probably winning a world title. I mean, it's just a sacrifice you got to make to do it.
Julian is on the best way to make his dream come true. Nowadays, high risk and explosive maneuvers are on the rise.
There's so many variations that come into doing aerials, and you know, competitive surfing's heading that way. You need to be able to do those maneuvers to get the scores to win the heats that completely change things up. It's like a whole different thing. It's when they're above the lip, it's like, where are they grabbing it? How much did they spin? How critical was the section? It's going to be hard. I kind of feel for those guys.
The last season featured massive aerials which showcased the development of the sport. But also the judging system had to be enhanced throughout the years.
The video replay is one of the biggest inventions as far as judging goes for us. It's changed from the start when the people sitting on the beach with pen and paper and manual tabulations. Now everything's done through the computer. It's really used as a tool to back up our job. It's not judged off the video replay, but it's used in case of something that's missed, or we need to reanalyze something because there's so much going on with multiple waves, or just there's situations where we need it.
One of the biggest highlights thus far this year was the ASP banquet in late February. The memorable event where the surf community honors all last year's champions was also the official kickoff for 2011.
No, everything's feeling really good. Had a great time at home this year, just hanging with my beautiful wife and my friends at home. So I'm pretty relaxed.
Matt Wilkinson, he looks amazing in his red coat and his top hat. I love it.
Yeah, last year was my first year and I had a really good time, and it was a pretty incredible year for surfing, and I'm definitely stoked to be back here.
I'm stoked to be with my family. That's what all the girls are so excited about this when they found out that the night was going to be on and they could get all dressed up.
Owen did an exceptional job last year, making top 10 in his rookie year. That's pretty damn cool. It's an amazing thing that Kelly's done. He seems to improve every year, finds inspiration and betters his surfing, and still dominates the sport. It's pretty scary, and I'm not sure when he's ever going to leave. He seems to like it.
You know, a lot of that desire for me, my competitive desires died when Andy died. And so, I dedicated this to Andy, and I want to say thank you.
After an emotional year, Kelly Slater was crowned 10-time world champion.
It feels good. It's you know, it feels like a time to kind of reflect and think about a lot of years, a lot of memories, and you know, titles are nice, but it's, you know, just that experience all these years and all the people and places and waves and boards and meals. A lot of meals.
This year was different for me, just from growing up and watching the guys surf from I was 1 year old, and those guys have been on the tour for basically since I was 10, and guys longer than that, like 20 years. So it was pretty hard for me to come straight out and surf against them at the start of the year. A little bit starstruck.
After the second event of 2011, Kelly Slater leads the World Tour ranking, followed by Joel Parkinson and Jordy Smith. For the next episode, we'll be leaving Australia behind and heading to Rio de Janeiro for the Billabong Pro. For the first time, South America's megacity is the venue for the Billabong Pro Brazil. Are the Brazilians, above all Alejo Muniz, able to withstand the pressure surfing in front of their home crowd? Find out more in the next episode of Surf Chronicles.